When we think about amazing ancient technology, our minds usually jump to things like the pyramid, right? Or maybe the aqueduct. But what if I told you that one of the most world-changing technologies is something we take for granted every single day? Yeah, I'm talking about roads. And not just dirt paths, I mean complex, engineered systems that literally built empires and connected the entire ancient world. The Queen of Roads. That's what they called it. This was the nickname for ancient Rome's most legendary road, the Appian Way. And for this explainer, we're going to use it as our guide to figure out how a single piece of engineering could become the blueprint for global conquest. All right, so let's set the scene. It's 312 BC. The Roman Republic is this up-and-coming power, but it's totally bogged down in this nasty, grinding war, the Second Samnite War. To win, Rome needed one thing more than anything else: speed. They had to find a way to get their legions and all their supplies south and fast. And their solution? A road. But not just any road. So this is the real mystery, isn't it? How could one stretch of pavement be such a massive game changer? And what in the world did these ancient engineers know? What were the technological secrets that let them build an infrastructure so tough that parts of it are still around today? Let's dig in and find out. Okay, first things first, we've got to be super clear. These were not just dirt tracks. This was serious, high-tech civil engineering for the time. It was a standardized system that Rome was about to copy and paste across its entire empire. What's so amazing is just how systematic the Romans were. You can see it all broken down here. They called it the layer cake method, and for good reason. It wasn't just about throwing rocks down. No, they dig all the way to bedrock, put down a foundation of huge stones, add a special layer of concrete using volcanic ash, and then top the whole thing off with these perfectly fitted paving stones. The result was a road so strong it could handle massive 10-ton carts day after day for hundreds of years. Just incredible. But the Romans knew a secret. They knew the number one enemy of any road is water. And their solution was, honestly, just brilliant. Every single road was built with a slight curve, a little crown in the middle. This gentle slope was just enough to make all the rainwater run off into deep ditches on either side. It kept the foundation bone dry and stable no matter what the weather threw at it. But hey, Rome's way wasn't the only way. Let's look at the bigger picture for a second. Half a world away, in ancient China, engineers had a whole different set of problems, and they came up with an equally brilliant but totally different solution. Instead of stone, they used earth. Their secret weapon was something called cooked earth. They would literally roast the soil at super high temperatures to kill off every seed and nutrient before packing it down. What did they get? A road surface so dense and sterile that absolutely nothing could grow through it for thousands of years. Two empires, two incredible solutions. So, we've seen the amazing tech, but the big question is, why? Why go through all that effort? Well, these huge projects were all about solving the biggest problems an empire faces: control, communication, and getting your stuff from point A to point B. Just try to wrap your head around this number. The latest research suggests the Roman road network stretched for almost 300,000 kilometers. That's enough road to circle the entire planet more than 7 times over. This wasn't just a bunch of roads. It was the circulatory system for a massive empire, pumping military power and economic lifeblood to its most distant frontiers. And this chart right here says it all. It shows you the number one problem these roads solved: military speed. Before the Appian Way, getting a legion from Rome down to the strategic city of Capua took about a week. After the road, just 3 days. That is a revolution in logistics. It meant Rome could project its power, save its garrisons, and crush rebellions before they even got started. And Rome wasn't even the first to figure this out. The Persian Empire built its famous Royal Road to solve the exact same problem of ruling a huge territory. They had a whole system of relay stations, so an official message could travel the entire road in about 7 days. You know how long that would take a normal merchant caravan? 3 months. It was, no exaggeration, the internet of the ancient world. All right, so this is where the story gets really, really interesting, because these roads, they ended up carrying so much more than soldiers and mail. They carried ideas, they carried culture, they carried commerce, and in doing that, they completely changed the course of human history. And here's the key thing to understand. The impact of these roads went so far beyond what they were built for. They became superhighways for cultural fusion. They sparked the growth of brand new cities, and they created this huge integrated economy. They didn't just connect places, they created a whole new shared world. I mean, this is such a perfect example of what we're talking about. The very stones of the Appian Way, a road built for war, became the pathway for Greek culture, its art, its deep philosophy, its language, to pour into Roman society. It changed them forever. This whole process was so powerful, it actually has a name, Romanization. And you can almost think of it as weaponized infrastructure. As all these merchants, soldiers, and government officials traveled the roads, they brought the Latin language with them. The inns, the markets along the way, they all became these hubs where Latin was the language everyone used. And slowly but surely, these roads helped melt down all these diverse groups of people into a single shared Roman identity. So, when you just step back and look at the whole picture, it becomes so clear. These weren't just impressive engineering projects. They were instruments of power, they were engines of culture, and they were the absolute foundation of the ancient world's globalized economy. And that's really the big takeaway here. These ancient roads were the arteries of civilization itself. They let empires run, they let economies boom, and they let ideas travel at speeds nobody could have imagined before. They literally paved the way for history as we know it. And that leaves us with one last big thought. If those ancient networks defined their civilizations, what do our modern networks, all our highways, our flight paths, and especially our fiber optic cables, what do they say about us? What are we connecting? What ideas are we spreading? And what kind of future are we paving right now?